Rubina A Khan, and welcome to the third edition of Rubina's Radar. I have with me today Rimzim Dadu, India's material girl of fashion. And hi, Rimzim.
Hi,
And
Rubina, how are you?
You are my material girl of fashion, and not quite unlike the pop legend Madonna. You're a fashion radical, and when you are not satisfied with sustainable materials, you go about inventing them. And chords give you the textural play that you so crave in all of your collections. So let's get right down to it. I'm going to start with something I've always wanted to ask you, but I actually never did.
Sure.
So, what does Rimzim mean? And what's the origin of the name and your roots?
So, Rimzim actually basically means to drizzle. And, I've never said this out publicly, but I'll tell you the origin of my name. It's actually named after a soda. My grandfather named me after a soda.
Wow, that is actually adorable.
Yeah. So there was this like drink, I think back in the 80s called Rimzim.
But have you had it?
He really liked the rains. So my granddad named me Rimzim.
But have you had the drink?
No, I haven't. I'm just, I don't think you get it now.
Okay. That's very interesting, actually.
Thankfully, you don't get it anymore.
Why, thankfully? You've never had it, so you don't know how bad or good it was. But your grandfather loved it, so we'll stick to that. That's a beautiful name and a beautiful choice. I prefer the rain parts, though.
Yeah, me too. I don't usually tell people the soda bit.
Oh, this is cool. You've been retailing online for a while, and you opened your flagship store just before COVID hit the world in February. So how has business been online and offline in the store?
Well, I mean, online definitely. So online wasn't a big part of, like our overall sales earlier. We were definitely present online. We've been present online since I think 2015. We've been retailing online, and I think when we started, it was a bit slow. Online in 2015, people would pick up like more like easy and not very expensive things online. But I think what's happened over the past couple of years, and especially it's been because of the pandemic, I think people are now really getting comfortable with even shopping luxury online. And I think that's a great shift. And coming back to the retail physical store, yes, I mean, we opened, I think, just on 22nd of February, just before the shit was about to hit the fan. But, like when we opened, we had like an overwhelming response. And, it was my first flagship store. So I honestly didn't know what to expect. But the response was absolutely amazing. But soon, of course, we all had to shut down. But I think ever since we reopened in July, things have slowly started to pick up again. And it's come to a point where, like we feel like we're back to 50% of what it was earlier. So, I mean, it's not too bad a situation to be in at the moment.
That's also because of your talent, I'm assuming.
I don't know.
People always return to the good stuff. So I think you're doing great work. So I'm sure because of that, they're coming back. And do you have like walk-ins anymore? I'm just curious.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Also, I think India in a way, and I don't know about the rest of India, but Delhi pretty much has gone back to how it was pre-pandemic, which is kind of scary and nice at the same time. So, like shopping has pretty much resumed, like events are happening, weddings are happening, parties are happening. So it's scary and nice at the same time.
So business is picking up.
Yeah, for sure.
So another interesting thing I want to know about your design houses, you create couture, but you sell them at almost pret-a-porter prices. How come?
Yeah. I've always felt like, be it couture, be it fashion, everything, I think it has to be accessible, So, like there's no point I create something beautiful and it's just hanging in my studio. Like I want more and more people to have access to good design. And, like good design can be made accessible. And that was my, when I conceptualized my brand and when I sort of like when we were kind of thinking of what our USP would be. One of the things, of course, was all my techniques and materials and everything else. But the one thing that I really wanted was access to good design, at like an affordable price. So of course, like affordable is also very relative.
Of course.
What is affordable for one person is probably not affordable for one person. But I was always appalled at the idea of like 12 lakh rupees Lenga. Like I was like, I know the work that goes in. I know it doesn't cost like so much. Why is it selling 12 lakhs? So of course, it's a little tricky how you sort of manage your overheads, your marketing expenses, all of that. But I don't feel couture has to be exorbitantly expensive.
So what is the most expensive and what is the lowest on the rung in the store at the moment?
I mean, so, our signature saris are priced at about 90,000 and they're metal palla saris. But at the same time, we have products that are easy tops that are about like 30,000. We have a range of accessories that we've just started, which is like our signature metal clutches and metal bags and metal heels, all of that. They started about like, I think 15,000 and they go up to about 25,000. So the whole idea is to have like maybe somebody who can't get the sari, maybe somebody who's, a lot of people, they don't know where to wear it or how to wear it, but they still want a little piece of, that art or that little piece of Rimzim Dadu. They can go back, let's see, like an accessory, a bag, a heel. The point is to, like diversify.
Your collections are not traditionally bridal by Indian parameters with 3D applique, cords, wires forming the larger crux of your collections.
Yeah.
So how is it that brides are now wearing them at their weddings? Explain that, please.
It's actually really nice whenever, like we have a bride walking in and, it's just so lovely that how, when I started out, fashion was always supposed to be just bridal, like, if you're a designer, obviously making length, that's what you're doing. But, I've seen this shift. And when I design, I don't particularly design for brides, but it's just so nice to see Indian women come out of their shell and to experiment and have fun on their big day, like that those days of coy brides are long gone and like people are like expressing themselves wearing what they want to wear. And like I think a couple of years back I would get brides try to their mothers like, mom, I want to wear the sari for my wedding, and I would get like messages saying, I'm just give me a couple of days trying to convince my mother that it's something so radical. And now it's the opposite. Like I get mothers saying like, I really want my daughter to wear this like steel sari for like so like I think it's obviously taken time, but that shift has happened, which is like so nice.
Almost 13 years of your label.
Yes,
almost
13 years.
Yeah. So obviously it's taken a while to get there.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the thing you'll have to really dive into. The quintessence of your design ethos, which is conscious, has always been structure and form. But cords have your heart. I want to understand why. Why cords of all the fabrics in the world? I mean, what you do with the cord.
So, like, I think I only realized how big an element cords have become in my design after a couple of years, because when I design, I used to just do things that would, very instinctively, I would do things, whatever would come naturally to me, right? So it's only after a couple of years I realized that, hey, there's this one common thing that's going on in all my collection, and that's cords. And I think I realized why it is because I like to create my own textiles, and I like to create my own surfaces and materials and everything. And I realized that with cords almost form like building blocks of something. I can like take little cords together and join them together to form something. So it's almost like how you make a house with brick. So cords always almost form like small bricks for me to like build my textiles with. And this is something I only realized much later, that this is one common element that I have in like almost everything I do. It's not like I plan to like stick to cords and wires.
That's interesting, because I thought it was intentional.
No, it was. It
that
absolutely
you've
was.
always perhaps liked the texture, because I'm assuming you go with texture more than the real fabric, because you like to, which is my next question. What compels you to deconstruct what exists in the world of fabric, and then you create these upcycled materials from the remains of the same?
Yes.
I mean, you should be the brand ambassador for sustainability and eco-conscious clothing across the world.
So that's something not very conscious, that you're saying that deconstructing materials wasn't again very conscious, but it was just there in my head. Like I would go to so when I would start designing a new collection, I wouldn't, let's say, like go to a fabric market to source things. Like that didn't come naturally. Wasn't exciting enough. I was like, okay, I can't just like pick up a fabric, cut and sew something like that. Fine, like that's okay, but like that's not something that's very exciting for me. I would go to like a hardware market and like things around like plastic and acrylic and steel, and I'm like, how can I use this to make clothes? But then again, like I said, like I wanted clothes to be accessible, to be functional, for people to actually wear them. So there was a lot of R&D that would go into how do you actually, how can actually someone actually wear steel? Like how do you cut it? How do you construct it? How do you finish it? How does someone keep it? How does someone wear it? How does someone wash it later? So it was like years of R&D to like try to take up all these materials, deconstruct them, then construct them back together, but make them actually super light, comfortable, functional, all of that.
When you come back with all this, your studio must be devastation. Tell me about that.
My studio is actually a lot of people call it the lab, because there's somewhere somebody is burning something, somewhere somebody is like welding something. It's less like a studio. Is more like a lab where people are just sitting and like doing random things that you wouldn't usually expect a fashion studio.
I'm very intrigued that you were the youngest designer that displayed at the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. Yes. And it was in October for the October 2015 for the Fabrics of India exhibition. So how old were you then to be the youngest in the world? One, and they displayed your leather patola, which was in sort of it made it. I don't like to use the word imitated, but it sort of brought the essence of ikat in cord play with leather.
In 2015, I think I must be late 20s, somewhere late 20s. And it so happened that the Victoria and Albert Museum was doing a big exhibition on Indian textiles called The Fabric of India. And I think they reached out to me because, they must have seen my stuff around. And so we showcased the leather patola there, Patola is a very traditional Indian heritage weave, and I'm sure you're all aware that it's like a form of double ikat. And then I wanted to recreate it in my own way using leather and cords, and that's what we did for the VMA.
It's a beautiful creation. I think everyone should go back to Google and check it out. It's really wonderful. It's unreal and so beautiful. Did anyone ever buy it and wear it?
Yes, I mean, it wasn't. Also, I think at that point I wasn't very. I was still very niche, so that collection wasn't like a huge sell out or something. I mean, but yes, there were like a lot of people who truly appreciated Patola and what I did with it, that they have it in their wardrobes.
Wonderful. So you've invented a sustainable fabric or a steel wire, which has now become a part of your signature work, which is the sari. So it begets the question, did the wire come first or the sari, the idea of the sari in a wire?
The wire came first for sure. So I'd been experimenting with steel wires for a while. And I think one day I was just like, what else can I do with steel wires? And, like I've never like created Indian clothes. I used to do a lot of like, tops and dresses and, jackets. I was like, I've never done Indian clothes, and maybe I should try to do my version of it. So I looked at a sari and I thought it was a brand new blank canvas for me to experiment with. And that was something exciting, because I'd been doing fashion for like 5-6 years, I think then. And I was like, what is it new that I can do? And then I was like, okay, I think like a sari should be fun. And should I just do a steel wire sari? And at that point, it sounded like a crazy idea. Then like, okay, what the hell? Let me just do like one sari. It was for I think my autumn winter 2016 show, and I was like, every collection I do a couple of pieces that are mostly editorial that I just do, because I really want them to do. I know that probably they won't sell as much, and they're probably not going to be like whatever, like huge success commercially, but sometimes you just do these things because you really want to, and you take that liberty. And that's why I did like one steel wire sari. And I don't know what happened. I honestly don't know what happened. And I wasn't imagining, so it started with, of course, like um some like young fashion forward girls who wanted to like dress up in that, and then eventually it came to a point where like regular sari women in mature sari women in their late 50s and 60s and 70s, they start picking up the sari, and that actually gave me a lot of joy and confidence. And I was like, okay, something, it is here to stay. So I think now it's been, I think, 5 years, and there's, I think, no looking back. Like, I've done multiple versions of this sari, and that's actually something I really enjoy. And every time I see somebody in it, I personally feel a lot of joy, because I know that that was a huge challenge for me to do. Like, it was a big challenge for me to do a sari at that point, and I really like sort of just gambled and did like a sari.
So it's a big passion triumph for you.
It was like personally as well, because I've done a sari before this. 2016, when I did that sari, I didn't personally know how to drape a sari. So, and I had not worn any for that. So I was just doing something so alien to me, but it was like something I've grown up seeing my mom wearing. So, but like personally, I'd never worn a sari. So I was just like, okay, I'm just going to do this.
I think the idea germinated because you didn't know how to drape it. Because imagine the cold wire with something as fluid and soft as a sari against cold. It's sort of rigid. It's not rigid. It's slightly
rigid
rigid
at all. It's actually not rigid at all. So that's what a lot of people think when they just see.
You feel that, yeah.
When they see images of the sari, they probably feel that it's very, I don't know, heavy or very, I don't know, rigid or structured, but they're actually very pleasantly surprised when they actually touch it or wear it, because it's something that can be draped into something very fluid and malleable, or you could like really make it look structured as well. So it really, that's something you can really play around with. It could be really structured, it could be really draped, fluid, depending on how you wear it. And believe it or not, like, people find it really funny that when I say that you can just like use your regular safety pin and like just pin it on and they're like, really, we can just pin a steel wire like that? And I'm like, yes, just go for it. So it's actually not rigid, or it's very simple, light, fluid, very.
So you've made jackets and other kinds of garments too with the same fabric now.
Yeah.
I've seen jackets, I've seen stoles. You started doing much more than just the sari.
Yeah.
Obviously, these saris and clothes are not meant for the washing machine. So I need to know, how does the wearer maintain them and have them cleaned?
So, that's what I tell a lot of people as well, that, because of the material itself, it doesn't actually even get dirty. You can go, you can use it multiple times, and you can have multiple wears before you actually need to clean it as well. Because, let's say, like, even if you drop something on it, the material is such, you just like wipe it off with like a wet cloth or something. So because of the nature of the material, A, you don't even need to clean it that often, and B, let's say like you've worn it like some 10 times and you really want to clean it, you can just give it to the dry cleaner, and it just has to be very delicately handled with hand. It cannot be clean.
Good to know. One question I keep haranguing you for is, have you given thought to making steel wire dhotis and lungis for I'm fixated with that.
Yeah, that's really cool that you brought it up. I'd never thought about, like, pants. I know is technically not possible because cross and all steel wires. I don't even know what will happen. But dhotis, I think, can be fun. I think, interesting drapes, dhotis, that can be fun. And if I get
I look forward to seeing. I look forward to seeing dhoti very soon.
Yes,
Because the
always,
sari and the dhoti are intrinsic to Indian wear from time immemorial.
absolutely,
So I think
absolutely.
since you've done the sari, you need to give an ode to the men too.
I must. I must.
You can't be genderist now. You have to.
Fine, fine.
So I've only ever heard of silicone in like, people who do things to their body and face, little plops here and there, and of course Silicon Valley. But I was pleasantly surprised to learn that you have created a Silicone Jamdani sari for
Yeah.
the Devi Art Foundation in 2015. I
Yes.
want to know more.
So,
How did silicone come in your life?
So again, my quest for like new materials, I came across this, like, silicone is this like really rubbery, stretchy material. You can get like translucent versions of it, transparent versions of it, really like colored versions of it. So I thought as a material, like, it was really interesting and I could do a lot of things with it. And at that point, Devi Art Foundation was having an exhibition for contemporary Indian textiles, and they commissioned me to do something for the museum for the exhibition particularly. So I was, growing up in India, you have all these influences of all the textiles you've always seen. So, be it a Jamdani or a Rikat or a Patola. So I was always very fascinated with Jamdanis, particularly Jamdani saris, because, the thing about a Jamdani is that it's so finely woven. It's almost, and it has patterns that are woven in it, and you can't even see the patterns until you like hold it against the light. Like, it's so finely woven. And so I was really like taken with the idea of like creating something which is very intricate. So I took the whole concept of Jamdani sari and used my sheer silicon rubber yarns, wove a sari, and which was filled with these floral Jamdani patterns that you could only see once the light comes on. So, so that sari was at display at the Devi Art Museum Foundation.
So is it a museum piece or can someone wear it?
That is a museum piece, a conceptual piece. It weighs like I think some 5 kgs or 6 kgs. So I would say it's a museum piece.
You were Rimzim Dadu to your own wedding. Which was in 2017, where you created everyone in the family's outfits in 2 weeks. I want to know, what did you wear?
I actually wore, again, that was my first Lenga. Again, like, I'm not a girly girl, so in my life I'd never worn a Lenga before, and here I'm about to get married and my mother's like, what are you wearing? And I thought, okay, I'm gonna go like do the rounds of the markets. I'll pick up something because I don't make lehengas and what, pick up something and wear. But like, I was doing all these rounds of the market and I was not like anything, and whatever, again, like anything I liked was like exorbitantly priced, and I'm like, I'm not going to spend like 20 lakhs on this, like, it's not worth it. So then I kept telling my mom, I'm going to make something for myself. And she's like, what? And I was like, no, I'm really busy with work. I don't have time for this right now. I had like some shows up, and I was like, don't worry, I'll do this. And my mother was really panicking. Like, now it's like 15 days to the wedding, and where are your clothes? What are you wearing? What are we wearing? And I was like, don't worry. So I think how I usually work for fashion weeks is also like, or when I'm working on a new collection, I like, it's the pressure that really gets me going. I need that pressure on my head to like really, it gets my creative juices flowing, I guess. So I think it was 15 days to the wedding, and my mom was like, really, like, what are you wearing? And then I created this Lenga with my 3D applique technique, and I wore a traditional Lenga, which was made with my signature techniques.
And the color?
It was red. Back then,
very traditional.
Back then, it was not like everybody was wearing red. Back then, it was more like people were trying to wear fun colors, but I was like, no, I want to wear red.
It's a wonderful choice. You, like you mentioned, you've got your own accessory line, which is of shoes, belts, handbags. Do you think they're moving swifter online as well as in the store versus garments? Or do you think it's an equal sell for both?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're working very well. And I mean, in terms of revenue, of course, like I get more revenue from, let's say, like clothes than I get from accessories. But in terms of numbers, yes, we do like, a major chunk of our sales is now accessories as well. So it is a vertical that we like plan to invest more in. For sure. And it is something that a lot of people now identify our brand with as well.
What are you working on right now? I don't even want to know what kind of thing in the world you are going to deconstruct and make it into a fabric. So please, please have mercy. Tell us what is the other thing you're creating now for the textile industry?
Honestly, I'm working on the new collection, which is going to be for the next season. So one is that, but B, what I'm really working on right now is I want to diversify more into using art and technology to create like textile sculptures and to create like home products. So I'm mostly working on that and menu line, but again, it's all work in progress right now. I don't know what will happen when.
What do you see in your own future as a conscious designer?
I honestly, when you say conscious designer, I don't know what you mean really, but
I mean, you're very conscious of waste. You hate it, you abhor it. You like to use what's already there to refashion it into something that's wearable. So that's what I mean by conscious. No, we're not in that game. We know exactly
honestly,
what sustainable and conscious clothing needs to be versus the words.
yeah, I know. Honestly, what I'm really like, I know we all keep saying these things and, all keep like using these buzzwords, but, like, what do they really mean? I don't know, to be honest. I don't know how much of my work is actually conscious, but, I'm making a conscious effort to be conscious. I want, firstly, like, I want to get into packaging, and because for me, like, my products need specialized packaging, like, when we sell steel wire sari, it has to be bubble wrapped a certain way, it has to be like intact. So for us, like, we're working on creating packaging, bubble wraps, etc., which is plastic free. I think for me, like, it's about baby steps into like, do the smaller things that you can. A lot of things we can't control, like where we source our threads from, because we're a very small design house. We will be getting like, let's say like all our trims, like accessories, threads, everything from big companies that will not be following these practices. So what is in our control, we try to do. So I'm trying to develop packaging which is plastic free, which is still like appropriate for our products. So I think it's these small steps, like we're trying to make our studio plastic free, for instance. So I think it's like these small steps going one by one, because end of the day, like, we're a small studio, and change, I feel, especially in the garment industry, has to come on a much larger scale. The fabrics, a lot of times we don't have the width to, let's say, like, give orders for like 2,000-meter fabrics to like big mills. So we have to pick up something which is ready. So a lot of times, a lot of things are not in our control as a small design house. So we try to do what we can.
So that's what I mean. You're trying to consciously veer away from what is creating an environmental pollution and a footprint. And whatever you can do, you are trying to do. That's what I really mean. Like if you go into sustainability, organic cotton, I mean, cotton takes a lot of water. So, I mean, even that in itself, but that's another story. So, what I'm trying to say to you, because I understand your ethos, is that you're trying to make an effort, and that is going to go a long way. If every fashion designer started thinking like you, a lot can change. A lot can change,
and
except just throwing words around every day.
Yeah, I think it's about all businesses, and I think it's not just about you could be into the airline industry, or you could be into the hotel industry, or you could be into any industry. I think it's just us, or we could just be like, it's about how we go about our daily lives. It's about, let's say, like things as small as, not like wasting fuel in your car or like your tap water. It's about like these small everyday steps that we all have to just inculcate.
Yeah. What do you think fashion weeks stand in India now?
Fashion in India was anyway getting, or just worldwide, it was anyway getting very democratic with, your social media platforms, and, the need for fashion weeks was growing less because, people, I mean, there's smaller brands, and there are all kinds of brands who want to showcase their work in any way that suits to them. So the need for fashion week was definitely going down. And I think with this pandemic, people have come up with like newer ways to showcase their work. It could be fashion films, it could be like interactive things on their websites, it could be your Instagram. So the need for fashion week has definitely gone down. They are becoming less relevant for sure. And I don't think it's a bad thing, to be honest. I think it's great. I think just all brands having the freedom to showcase their work without being dependent on a particular platform is great.
And without being dictated to, because every brand has a voice, and those voices get diminished when you're a part of a week, because you have to toe the line, you have to adhere to certain things. And the voice of every brand, though it's a great platform for exposition for what you do, but then also it takes away a lot of the voices, I feel.
I think it's a give and take. Like, when I was young, I would have given anything to be a part of Fashion Week because it gave me the visibility and the business that I needed. But I think, it's like give and take. So you do get a lot from it as well. But of course, you have to sort of give a lot as well. So it's give and take, but definitely it's getting less relevant right now.
So how is it working from home and virtually?
I'm
no
not
more rummaging in plastic and steel wire plants.
I am pretty much back to the studio and like working full time now. But yeah, in between, it was really fun working from home. And I just couldn't imagine getting back to work full time, but I'm back to work full time. It was fun while it lasted, but back to the grind now.
Okay. Any part of your personality has switched, altered, changed during the crisis when we were all confined?
Personality, I don't know, but I think
like some habit, something that
I think
changed.
I think I've kind of like learned to have faith, I think, and to believe. It's just something, like my family was going through a crisis during the pandemic with the whole COVID situation, and like I didn't think I was a spiritual person, but like I turned to like having faith and belief, and so that is something that I don't think I had before this pandemic.
Big reveal today, huh?
Yeah.
So what have you been wearing at home, and what do you do at home when you're not working? Because I think you're working all the time.
I am not working all the time. I think I so used to pajamas and t-shirts. So used to pajamas and t-shirts. I don't think I'm ever getting out of them. Ever. Yeah, no, but actually once in a while when you do go out, it's so good to dress up. I used to always hate dressing up. It's like, I used to, because I was constantly required to dress up for events and things here and there. I used to hate dressing up all the time, but now I actually really enjoy it. So once in a while when I do have to go out, I really actually enjoy dressing up now.
Oh, so that's changed. The recluse has become a player.
Yes, and I really look forward to going out. Otherwise, I was always like, I'm majorly like antisocial. I get like like I have like social anxiety before going out anywhere or talking to new people or meeting new people. So it's always like looking for excuses to not show up at places. So, but I think that has changed now. I look forward to going out. I look forward to meeting new people.
Yeah, the organic people interaction has just changed. It's just not possible to just randomly meet people anymore. It's such
Yeah,
a process, you know.
absolutely.
It's like going to warfare, going into warfare. So tell me, does your husband wear your clothes? Do you design for him?
He's one who's actually pushed me into doing menswear. So I started menswear because he really was like, why don't you do clothes for men? Why don't you do clothes for men? I was like, I don't know. I've never sort of pictured what a Rimzim Dadu man would look like or should look like. And he was like, really like, no, you have to translate your clothes for men as well, and it would be a huge success. And so it started with doing some little things for him here and there, and then yeah, it became a full-blown men's line. And now I still remember when I opened the store last year, I had a small rack for menswear in my store, and it's been less than a year, half my store is menswear because it's doing so well now.
Oh, wonderful. I'm surprised that he didn't say, I'm right here. I'm your muse. I'm your mannequin. Play. He's right there at home. I'm your Rimzim Dadu man in real life. I'm the muse for your store and your collections,
Yeah. So he kind of need to do it.
What can you not resist in life, Rimzim?
I don't think there's anything like that. It used to be sugar for me, but I'm kind of okay with I don't have any such temptations. I'm good now.
So you've been cured of your temptation.
Yes. Sugar and coffee used to be my two weak points, but if I'm good with sugar and coffee, I can resist anything.
So the Rubina question is, what is the most fiercely annoying aspect of fashion in India?
Fiercely annoying aspect of fashion, not just in India. I think it's just with fashion, what comes is constantly keep updating and doing something new, and you have to constantly be that pressure of doing something new and being relevant. It's annoying as a creator. You're just you feel like you're in some sort of machine. You have to constantly come up with something new. You have to constantly outdo yourself. So it's not about just India, but I think in general, when you're a creator, whole pressure, after a while it gets to you.
Does music help you create, or do you prefer background sounds of our lovely India? And any kind of noise is music now.
Yeah, so I think I kind of prefer absolute silence. And actually I create and I think a lot when I'm driving. So it's also the manic, I think the traffic noise, that I find driving very meditative. So when I'm driving, I come up with new ideas and new things. So I think it's I get lost in the zone, and I think all the noise gets blurred out. So all these horns and all this manic chaos gets blurred out. So I go in my zone. I don't hear anything.
So Rimzim, this has been wonderful. You've revealed an aspect of your personality, lots of aspects actually, which I wasn't aware of, and I'm sure lots of other people aren't either. And I want to thank you for your time. No, I said thank you for your time. And I want to ask you, is there anything in particular that you wish for your brand and for yourself in the coming days?
First of all, thank you, Rubina, for having me. It was so much fun chatting with you. And I know we've known each other for a while now. And I'm so glad we got to do this together. It was so much fun. And I'm a huge fan of all these talks that you've been doing. It's so much fun. So different from everything else.
I think I really enjoy them myself. So it's self-serving, really.
So good luck with the episodes that are coming up. I can't wait to tune into them. And yeah, thank you for having me. And my last thoughts for what I wish for myself in the brand is, I think I think the pace keeps going and the momentum keeps up. And yeah, that's about it.
Wonderful. I wish you good luck. And I look forward to your next line.
Thank you, Rubina. Thanks for having me.